highest. All right, Yaata. Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Novi live stream. We are playing another game, but before we do that, we want to talk about what brings us on channel today. What we're doing. We are supporting the cause of stoppipeline3.org. And if you don't know what that is, there is a pipeline being built in the upper part of the U.S., specifically going through like Minnesota and many treaty lands. It violates several treaties with the Anishinaabe Ojibwe people. And more than that, it is endangering our largest source of fresh water in the Mississippi River. This is a pipeline using tar sands, which is the most dangerous and carbon dioxide filled type of fuel that you can use. And it is not even bringing jobs or profit to America. So there's literally no upside to this. If you want more information about it, you can go to stoppipeline3.org and learn more about it. Or you can check out some of the indigenous creators on TikTok who have been speaking about it. You can look up Black Snake Hunter, _golden wolf, or you can also look at UG Runa. That is UGRUNNA. And thank you for joining us while we play Halos and Horns. This is a game brought to us by Jo, so I will let her explain it to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jo here. Trying out my hand at the GMing on live stream for the first time. So this will be a bit fun. And classic me, I think I went a little left field with this one because in Halo and Horns, there's 2 GMs and 1 player. One GM shall be the angel on her shoulder, and the other one will be the devil on her shoulder. You don't know who's who. You're going to get to guess. The player gets to figure it out along the way, and we each have our own objective that we want our poor mortal player to accomplish by the end of our session. We have opposing views on how this should happen and opposing views on what this mortal should accomplish in the day. So a couple other bits and bobs. This game was written by Connie Chang, and you can get it for yourself for a very, very low price if you want to check it out. She has a couple of other really fun little one-shot games that people can play. So shout out to her for being awesome and putting this out there for people. Let's see. Yeah, that's the basics. We already have our objectives. Now let's cut to our mortal who shall set the scene for us. Kim, please take it away.
Hello. I'm the mortal, just trying to go about and have a nice day. Most of my days start with some kind of caffeine, so I think that would be a nice place to start, heading out down kind of like the cobble streets. I live in Edinburgh, so I have a very sort of visual of the cobbled sloping streets of Edinburgh, heading out for that caffeine hit, much needed. Just your average 31-year-old girl, just
so can we head over to that lovely little locally owned shop and
ethically sourced using coffees,
made sure that it's always what's the term, fair trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but doesn't it just
have a recyclable cup?
Doesn't it just
oh no, don't forget your reusable cup because you get a discount.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just as you walk down to this, local like ethically sourced fair trade coffee and you pass a church on your way, and like doesn't that just kind of like feel weird as you're passing this church? You're seeing these people handing out pamphlets, and like in Edinburgh, like, and this Catholic church has done so much to your people and this land. Doesn't it just like, doesn't it just feel gross and like heavy handed that they would still be sitting here like sidewalk preaching at people.
Or you could just
this early in the morning.
Just ignore them. Keep on walking. Let the aroma of the coffee lure you in to the shop.
Well, it is quite interesting that people would be shouting about it in Edinburgh. Like Glasgow, you see a lot of preachers around. They stand in the street. They're giving it welly. Not so much in Edinburgh. So look at a side glance, definitely.
Right, like, and they're not satisfied with what they already have. I mean, they've completely changed the view of people's like spirituality. People who want to practice the old ways don't even know how because they've erased the records. And here they are trying to impede even more into your culture, into your city.
I'm definitely not comfortable with them, but I'm also not caffeinated enough to deal with them. So I'm going to go get my coffee and maybe give them the side eye when I come back.
So you go into the cute little quaint coffee shop that's built into the base level of someone's home. They live up top. And you go, the little cling, cling of the bells as you come through the door. And you have a nice young lady that is somewhere in her late teens, early 20s. And she greets you bright and peppy and takes your order. What can I do for you today? I cannot do a Scottish accent.
A for effort. I would like a cup of coffee, please, a cappuccino.
Oh, okay.
Extra shot.
Oh, it's one of those days. Okay, yes, ma'am. Can we, so your total will be of
£3. That sounds...
Well, I don't drink coffee, so I am clearly out of my depth. £6 and 30 pence. I don't know.
It's outrageous.
It's a lot.
I wouldn't pay that for a pint.
Oh, my bad. Let's take it. £3, 60 pence.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Can we roll up to £4 even, and the change will be donated to this charity that we are raising money for called Stop Pipeline 3.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yay! Thank you very much.
And as you're waiting for your coffee, you see a woman come in to the shop, and like she seems like she's been sweating. She seems like she's been out in this heat it's way hotter than it really ever should be. Like, y'all aren't used to this type of temperature. It's like 30 degrees today. Like, it's not a nice day. And this woman looks like she's been outside all day and possibly even all night as she kind of like just huddles in the corner and is trying to cool off. What do you do as you see this?
Is she near me or is she further across?
Like, so she's come in, like, as you come in, the counter is pretty close. It's not a large coffee shop. It's in the base of somebody's home. So she's just off to the entrance. So she's about probably not even maybe like 2 meters from you.
Okay, COVID distance. That's nice. I'm gonna do the most stereotypical British thing that you can do. But some weather we're having. and she'll respond with, yes, and it doesn't make it any better when you're denied shelter because they don't let you in unless you listen to a sermon. And I'm not trying to listen to a sermon. I'm just trying to stay out of the heat.
You talking about the church?
The shelter down the way, it's run by the church, and they took it over, and now they don't allow you to stay overnight unless you sit in a sermon.
That doesn't seem very fair. Not everybody's religious.
No, they're not.
And you said that coffee blended or hot?
Well, there's a heat wave. I better take that iced.
and she's just sitting here like fanning herself, and she asks, could I trouble you for a couple pounds for a nice iced water?
Yeah, of course. Why don't you just order something and I'll cover it. Don't worry.
Thank you so much. Bless your heart.
That's so nice.
It's so nice of you. It's so nice
cousins,
of you.
You've got a Irish.
Here's your iced double shot cappuccino.
Thank you. Sure.
And she orders the water, takes her water, and she's just trying to cool off. It's been getting worse and worse. They're taking over the shelters, and they're building more and more churches. This is Edinburgh. When's the last time that that you saw these straight preachers?
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot more than usual. I didn't really click until earlier today, but that seems like there's a lot in the town, and they're taking over the shelters and everything.
They're taking over the shelters, and the government's letting them because they're like, of course, it's the church, it's goodwill. Haven't they learned their lesson yet? When has the church ever brought goodwill to these isles?
No, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm gonna take a
Let's go for a walk now.
brownie sip of coffee.
Walk now.
Oh shit! Yeah. I was gonna pay for whatever the lady ordered, and I'll be like, I hope your day gets better, and I hope you're able to find some shelter. I've got to get to work.
And so she's just kind of you see her, she just is staying there for as long as she can, trying to cool off and drinking the ice water very slowly, as if she's trying to preserve it.
I'm gonna, before I leave, just be like, give some more money and just be like, when she wants another, just grab it for her.
God bless.
And then
Every day, it's fine. That was a very American thing. I'm sorry.
Scotland, you get a brisk nod. You're on your way. No, people are nice. We're nice.
And so as you're walking, you see that she's kind of right. As you're on your way to work, you're seeing flyers that are very much come to Sunday service, do this, do that. What's your relationship to your Savior? It's very much heavy-handed, as you see, every couple of blocks you're seeing a different advertisement for this church, and it's making you angrier because after what she just said, you're like, there's no goodwill there. They're acting as if they're here to, spread some sort of help and aid, but only with conditions.
Yeah, and Edinburgh's full of those people that are handing out flowers, trying to get you to donate to charity and stuff anyway. Mm-hmm. So you get good at the bob and weave, and I'm on my phone, I'm so sorry. Oh no. But yeah, anxiety levels creep up as well.
Mm-hmm. As you're on your phone and you're trying not to look because it's just incensing you run into a man carrying a pamphlet, and he's kind of a little bit. He's not as shocked as he should be that you just ran into him. It's almost as if he placed himself in your path intentionally, and he starts right in with the personal questions. He's asking, "Oh, hi, how are you? How are you today?"
Hi.
Well, I'm a bit late for work. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I did want to ask, what have you found a good church family yet? Have you found your place of belonging with the Lord?
I have a very good family, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All sorted on the family front.
Oh, that's good. We could always use more community, though. Could I maybe, talk to you a little bit about, the recent church, the recent congregation that just sprung up down the road?
I really do have to go to work, and a lot of my time is already occupied.
Okay. Well, here, and he's kind of like forcing a pamphlet into your hand, and you take it reluctantly because maybe this is what will shut him up.
Yeah. I'll take it and kind of like
the back of the pamphlet. There is information about charities you can donate to help with preserving international relations, and and you notice what is it? I wrote it down for a reason. StopPipeline3.org is on the back, and you see a little bit of information about it. About they're trying to help preserve America's largest freshwater source, and prevent all of that being sent over, the jobs and money and things and product being sent over to France, of all places. Why France? Who knows? Whatever. It's weird.
And as you clock this, as you clock the stoppipeline3.org, it also dawns on you that this is a pamphlet for a Catholic church. The same Catholic church that set up residential schools, the same Catholic church that is still denying their responsibilities for all that they have done, not only to the indigenous peoples of America, but to the indigenous peoples of the British Isles. Like, the cognitive dissonance there, like, begins to really raise your temperature more than the temperature outside. You start to feel your heart like beat.
But you can definitely look up more information to see how maybe contributing money to that charity would help divert some of that tension in yourself, that it doesn't need to all stay in there. It can go elsewhere, and you could do good without dealing with the church, but you could still do good through other means.
But you also realize good is in the eye of the beholder, and there's a lot of good to be done by removing the footholds for people that would pretend to do good. And that kind of like sticks there too. Like, you want to do good, but good by whose definition? Are you supposed to work within the system? Or are you supposed to flout the system that would have you engage in respectability politics?
Just really enjoying watching Joe's reaction to everything that you come back with.
Just perched on your shoulder, making all the faces.
I'm going to look at the pamphlet, and there's kind of that recognition of, hey, that's the charity that I donated to in the coffee shop. Kind of wanting to read more about that, but as I'm walking away still, definitely taking note of the irony of it being the church that is asking for these charitable donations. Mm-hmm. And also maybe just wondering a little bit, like, of the motives behind the church. Like, are they saying, yeah, we give money to the Stop Pipeline 3 as a cover-up? Like, hey, look, we're giving all the money to these good people. Don't look at who else we're giving the money to, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Lex is like, just, they know me too well. they're hitting all the sweet spots.
So as you continue on your walk to work, you do feel a gentle breeze come across you. You see some lovely clouds floating through the sky. So even though, yes, it's hot, there's still enjoyable moments. Where is work, and what do you do?
So I work in an office just off the Royal Mile. It's tucked away from like the quiet, into the quiet, sort of away from like the bustle of where all the tourist traps are, and away from where like all of the street performers, and especially this time of year with Edinburgh, the capital of entertainment in August. It's very, very busy. So yeah, nice and quiet, and kind of once I'm out of that pressure of all the people on the street, there is just that sort of like dissipation of anxiety a little bit, and a promise of air conditioning, which is very important.
Which is always good. It's always good.
Mm-hmm. as you make your way, back into your office, you're heading up, and you get into your space, and you hear somebody has the radio on, just one door over. And it's the radio covering the news of what was going on in Canada, and, them kind of uncovering all of that. And, they talk about, and this is what happened here as well. They uncovered these things as well. And they, were covering up what they were doing to unwed mothers, and they've never addressed that. They just think that they get to tell us what to do, and they get to tell us how to practice, and they get to just throw money at things and hide everything away. They get to harbor all of these criminals and these, predators with really no repercussions. You have more and more people joining the church every day, and you have more and more being built every day, and that's fine. People are able to practice what they want, but they're completely shirking their spiritual responsibilities here. They want to talk about how we have a duty to our fellow man, but what about the families that they completely erased? And they realize, oh, maybe I'm listening to this a little too loud, and they turn it down. But that really sticks with you. The more that they kind of invade, the more that they kind of do all of these things, the less and less likely it is that people are going to care when they do bad things, because I'm already this deep in. I can't just, it feels like they can't turn their back on it, but that's completely untrue. And this, but how are you going to communicate that? How do you stop this spread and this invasion?
Coffee delicious.
Well, that coffee's gone now. As I get into the office, I'm going to sit at the old computer and forget checking the email, start Googling, because this is a lot, and it seems to be following where I'm going. So yeah, I'm just gonna try and look up more about the church, this sort of congregation that's coming up.
I mean, it's the churches everywhere, though. Churches in so many ways nowadays. That could be a very deep rabbit hole. Why don't we learn more about stuff like Pipeline 3? And what are the best methods to volunteer or donate more money and help the world that way, instead of trying to hurt more things. That's unnecessary.
As you're going to do that. You're taking the mouse up to, go to stoppipeline3.org, but something catches your eye on that congregation's website, and you see a name for a priest that you think you remember. And so before you go to Pipeline 3, you look up this priest, and you see that there was some real sketchy shit that he was reported on just a couple of months ago back in London. And it seems instead of being ousted, they just moved him. And this really hits what you've already been feeling, that this is just more false activism in order to cover up the wrongs that they have done. And this really starts to sit in your stomach, and it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right.
Okay.
Ew. Well, we don't have to read about that. We can think about look at puppies for a minute.
Love puppies. As I sort of dig into the church, obviously there's always going to be sort of these things that incense you, and bad guys doing bad things. I'm going to try and look to see if there's any sort of reputable priests, try and see if there's a balance, anything to sort of just maybe calm myself down a little bit
Yeah, and I mean, when you look for it, you can always find good people.
When reading through different things about this new congregation, you come across a younger individual who goes by the name Father Friend. And shout out to literally Father Friend, who was the coolest priest I've ever met in my life.
That's a real person. I had a pastor when I was growing up named Brother Buddy.
No, what was even better is my mom went to high school with Father Friend. So she had dirt on the man, and it was hilarious in math.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Coming back to the game.
My bad. Drawing on real life. Father Friend is a new younger priest that is kind of revitalizing proper outreach and protocol and being cool and hip and trendy and really working with teenagers so they can understand like the world is a much bigger place than just one town or city that they've always lived in. And so he's helped start educational outreach programs and helped with animal adoption. And he's the one who brought the idea of Stop Pipeline 3 to this new congregation.
And as you think about that, though, like all of that looks nice on the surface. It really does. But then you think about, okay, but why is it that the church is the one that has to tell the children about this? And what sort of slant is the church putting on how to do these good deeds and why you do these good deeds? You know, is it for their own selfish gain, or is it because they genuinely care about people? And given your experience and the generations before you, the answer is pretty clear why.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that there's sort of the nicer priests in the congregation, but again, he seems too funky fresh. He's almost like the distractor priest, like, hey, look, we're down with the kids.
Hello, fellow children.
He's the Nickelodeon priest, the House of Mouse priest.
He's the one that like comes in on the skateboard and is like, yeah. I'm groovy, guys.
What's up, kids? Smoking is bad, okay? Don't do drugs, do maths instead. Oh, I should have said don't do meth, do maths instead.
Oh, yeah.
That's my next slogan. That's my next.
It very much seems that they're trying to, you know, they're definitely giving a slant to this goodwill that shouldn't have to be there. People should do things for others in the community because that is good. And it's what's right. And it ultimately takes care of yourself, not for some sort of selfish gain or favor with the church.
Exactly. So let's ignore the church completely and let's just look at this new charity you come across. But
if we ignore the church, aren't we complicit in their oppression?
Let's get the church out of the situation. Let's just completely remove it and not a part
Agreed.
of it.
We should remove the church. That should be what we do. Now, how do we do that? You know, I mean, it is still under construction. It's not right now. They're meeting in a warehouse. So the church is not fully formed yet. You know, the outside is fully good, but they're not ready for people to come into it. And it has been super hot and very dry lately. I mean, it would be very unfortunate if something were to ignite and this newly, you know, erected house of God were to just disappear.
Shush.
Very unfortunate.
It would definitely be unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like information of where the church is being developed?
It's being developed in like just outside of like Edinburgh's like main thoroughfare. So it's, you know, where, you know, the cultural center is. It's, you know, it's there where people have for a lot of years been able to just like be free and be themselves and be queer and weird and wild in the streets. And, you know, and you even noticed on your walk today, like, you could see, you know, you saw a young punk wearing a crop top and some cutoff shorts being accosted. Like the people who would normally just kind of give side eye and shake their heads are a little bit more emboldened lately. And it doesn't feel good. It feels like, you know, the wrong sort of people are being bolstered by the presence of this church alone, you know, and it's not even finished construction. They haven't had, you know, their big opening sermon, their big welcome home.
Thanks. But the street performers were super cute today.
That's nice. Can I see that there's been more like religious people in the streets? Like, obviously there's the people that are sort of trying to get the congregation and trying to build up the numbers, but outside of that, is there just people like wearing like, I don't know, like paraphernalia or crosses?
That's the thing, is you can't really tell if they're actually religious or if they are just using that as the smokescreen for their bigotry. There have definitely been more people verbally assaulting people in the streets, catcalling people, calling them whores, and just saying awful things to people. And, you know, it seems to coincide with the arrival of the church, but you also aren't sure if they're actually religious or just using that as their justification.
Okay. On my lunch break, then I will go back onto the street. I need to get food anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantasy. I can spend money on Edinburgh.
Right?
I bought like 3 6-pound coffees today. I can do whatever I want. So I'm gonna head out and sort of just do like a walk by of the establishment and see kind of like what the people are like around it, what the general vibe is around the area.
Yeah. So as you're walking down, you know, you see that there's a sort of impromptu sermon taking place. It's not like a proper mass, but you know, there's the priest and you know, a young boy standing just behind him on the steps of what will be the church, and a group has gathered around them. And he's, you know, speaking of the sin that has taken root in Edinburgh and the way that, you know, the people have lost their way and they must come back to the church in order to feel fulfilled, and in order to find actual happiness. They have to come back to God, and they have to, you know, come back to what, you know, the Creator wants for them, and talking in these broad strokes about people you know and people you love, and ultimately you. Like, you aren't somebody who goes to mass every Sunday. You aren't someone who, you know, takes communion and, you know, engages in religious cannibalism. You know,
you don't know me.
And,
oh, I do on a Friday night.
And so, you know, it kind of definitely, you know, is making you angry. How dare you tell me what I need in order to be happy, especially when the church has done more to make women and queer people unhappy than any other group on the planet. You know, it really, you know, it's more lies. It's more half truths and smoke screens.
And so you notice young adult lady walks up near you, like, again, meter or so away. She has like short bob pixie cut hair, crop top, shorts on, hot day, sandals all that. She has her phone out, kind of inconspicuously taking a video of this man's rant and, watching, and she realizes, you saw what she was doing. She's like, this is pretty intense. Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like there's other ways you can definitely help the world, and this probably isn't it, but this is some funny material. Can't wait to get this online. This should be fun. Let's see how the international community reacts to this happening in our city.
Are you from a different group then? You're against all this?
I like volunteering and going out and getting really hands-on and really dedicating my life to bigger causes, because this building is not a big cause. This is something else entirely. But they talk about different charities that they're supposedly donating money to. Who knows what's actually happening? Do we get to see that paperwork? No. But I like to go and actually work with the charities and give my time. And I travel overseas a bunch so I can really get on my feet on the ground and help them out. I like doing that. That's where I find God. It's actually doing something direct and not any of this fire and brimstone.
And one of the people listening to this priest speak kind of perks and looks your way and is like, "Oi! What you mean we're not doing it right? This is the church. We've done it right for hundreds of years. How dare you speak ill of it? How dare you speak ill of the word of God?" And he's just really going off in a way that you haven't seen people do this in Edinburgh in a long time. And it really strikes you that, oh, these people are being incensed. These people are being emboldened because they have a figurehead that's telling them they're right,
Yeah, you don't have to behave that way, sir.
Quit filming me! Quit filming! He's laying into her, and none of his little friends, none of the other people, and not even the priest is telling him to calm down, telling him that he's doing the wrong thing here, telling him that this isn't the way that God wants him to behave. No one is stopping him. In fact, you see a couple of people nodding and agreeing with him that she's in the wrong, and how dare she speak ill of God and what he wants for his people.
I'm just saying you don't always have to find God in a building that's not always a thing.
He calls us together. He calls us to gather together.
Okay. Yes, sure, sir. If that's where you find your God, fine. I'm going to go get lunch. Bye.
And she kind of walks off, and he's in a huff, and he looks at you. Oi, you agree with her? You think she's right?
I have no opinion on the matter, and I'm just going to slink away into the crowd like Homer Simpson into that hedge.
And he just kind of goes back to what he was doing, kind of all gruff and whatever. But yeah, that was intense. And as much as it was scary, it also makes you angry. How could he think that he was okay to do that? And how could nobody from his group of supposed followers of God think that this is the way that their God wants them to behave, especially when they're speaking of goodwill and happiness and contentment?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move away from the crowd just to get breathing space again. The old anxieties back up. But yeah, not feeling happy about the church, not sure how to feel about kind of the woman that was filming everything, and maybe trying to look up on my phone to see if what she filmed has already ended up on the internet yet, or to kind of see what kind of things she was doing.
Yes, you noticed that. I'm sorry. You noticed that she was live streaming it. And so, yes, it's already on YouTube. It's already on Facebook and Twitter. The comments are coming either side, just cats and dogs. And
you see people that are like on her side, and maybe they don't believe the same way as her, but they definitely like take a stance that's in alignment with her, and they're all like making points, like citing, peer-reviewed articles about, the damage that, organized religion can do. They're citing, sources about the history of the church and what it has done. And they're, making very logical points. And you see all of these straw man arguments and people just copy and pasting prayers in the comments section and just really like, let me save your soul sort of energy.
But you also notice that there are people posting their charities of choice that they like to work with, and different charities that they've been able to go to different countries and work on education systems and housing and food shortages and different things like that, emergency relief, like. So you see all these different charities popping up and throughout the arguments, and a lot of them get ignored and dismissed because people are like that when they start to fight on the internet. Let's not dig into the comments too much. They are scary. Yes, it's fine. Charities are good.
Okay, I'm going to click away from that absolute shitstorm. And head back towards work. It's kind of not really got the appetite anymore that I started out with. Mm-hmm. Trying to ignore, but still feeling really affected by a man getting in her face and screaming.
Yeah. And you hear again, your coworker is in the break room as well, kind of like eating a bagel and, listening to the radio. And you hear about a brash of a few house fires, because it's been so dry. Like even in the Highlands, it's been really dry. And so there have been a couple of fires that have broken out, and it's been really hard for the fire department to keep up because they're not used to this. It's fucking wet. How do you get fires to happen? But because it's been so hot and so dry, things are catching like candles in the desert. And that kind of sits with you.
Mm-hmm. 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 You notice once you finally check your emails that you got an email from your bank. It's just that normal month check-in of like, here's your statement and blah, blah, blah. And you notice in the email, they're like, oh, and we have a charity campaign going on this month that we will match whatever donations you give to an organization on our approved list up to $50,000. And you are intrigued because once again, Stop Pipeline 3 shows up on this list, and it has nothing to do with the church. And you know that if you gave money, your bank would be able to match your donation dollar for dollar. That's pretty cool. So get to take the church out of it and maybe hopefully do a little bit of good for the world anyways.
Yeah, you could definitely do a lot of good right here, right now. But isn't there a way to do more lasting good? Wouldn't it be so much better if these people just didn't feel like they had this foothold? Because, it is the tradition of the church, once they've conquered a people and conquered a land, that they build their house of God and they pontificate to the people about what they should and shouldn't do and how they should live. And, even before this church is finished, they have fully taken these people who are normally very quiet and emboldened them to be yelling at young women in the street that they don't even know. Wouldn't it be better if that church didn't get finished? Wouldn't it be better if they didn't have that foothold? And isn't there a way to do that? And your head kind of goes back to those brush fires that have been happening and those house fires that have been happening.
Think about like all the damage that would happen if you tried to contribute to a situation that's already volatile. But
you are in the city center, and, you know, firemen are a lot closer to the issue here. In theory, you could do this with minimal collateral damage. And wouldn't your Scottish ancestors be so proud of an act of such resistance and revolution? Isn't this your birthright?
Let me tell you a fun story. I'm a Grant. It's my mom's side of the family, and Urquhart Castle by Loch Ness was once in possession of the Grants. But when the English came to take it, the Grants destroyed it so that the English couldn't have it. It is literally my birthright. However,
what about your dad's side? What kind of influence does your dad's side give you? Does that side like tone it down a little bit? Maybe?
They just drink.
And isn't alcohol an excellent accelerant?
Oh, we don't.
They might just blame it on a drunk.
The one thing that does stick in this is as an educated kind of awareness of how the church can manipulate things is that if this church burns down, will it make a martyr of the religious people? They'll be able to be like, look, vandals, and this is what the church gets you, and then turn that into...
And also they would probably be able to get some kind of insurance money to help them rebuild anyways, and it's a futile attempt.
And as you think about that, but it has been so dry, and there is just like, it's just wooden on the inside. You know enough about science and physics. If you set a little bit of kindling and a nice little lens for this hot sun, the ignition point looks natural, and it would be called an act of God. And wouldn't that be so appropriate?
In my head, I was thinking, it's an act of God.
No.
Oh, and if it's an act of God, they probably wouldn't get the insurance money.
And if it's an act of God, they couldn't even say that he wants them to be there. Isn't that delicious?
Oh, Joe, you've got some work to do.
French. Let's think about the homeless lady that you helped out at the coffee shop. And, you know, people know her around and that she has a hard time. And yes, she does like to sleep at the shelters, but she also is able to get herself a few pints at night as well. And so if they were going to... What? Oh, sorry. Message came through and I was like, that's not right. What was I saying? Old lady would get blamed for the fire because she's the town drunk. Sorry. I was trying to be flowery with that. You can't guarantee that like someone like her isn't going to be blamed for it anyways, because again, like they are trying to convince you that no one's going to get off free from this situation, especially if the church tries to shoulder their way into like extra money from insurance, and you don't everything is very dry. You cannot guarantee that everyone's going to stay safe. You don't know if the fire is going to jump to other property. You don't know if any of the firefighters are going to be hurt in the process of trying to save the church anyways. And then, the goodwill of the town builds up around the church to like help them even more and give them more money because they've been through this tragedy, act of God or not, whatever. But
thinking more about her and the fact that the church has taken over most of the shelters in this area now, she can't find a place to sleep anyway. And a great way to keep them from blaming her is have her at your flat for a night. Put her up for one night, let her sleep on the couch, and let God do what he will. And if somebody tries to come for her, you can vouch. No, she was on my couch because the church would not let her into a shelter. And then that story spreads like wildfire. And the church can't accumulate goodwill because now people know that they're forcing homeless people out of shelters if they don't want to be preached to.
I think
there goes their goodwill.
I think the town already realizes that's going on, and this situation can work itself out without arson being involved. Because, okay, fine.
When has it ever worked itself out, though? Thousands of years of the church.
That's not the point right now. Lovely things have happened, and look, I am not here to help one religion or another. That is not the point of my existence. Thank you very much. I just don't want to cause damage. And there is a way to help the world and help the people.
But damage to property is much different to the spiritual damage done by the church. It's much different to the generational trauma imparted by the church. You know, a little bit of property destruction, not only is it your birthright, it's also negligible in the face of generations
we are not
of
next
abuse.
To a lock right now. We are not near the lock. This is what birthright? What birthright? She would be destroying a part of her hometown, her city, where she.
It's not a part of her hometown. It's an intruder on her hometown. It is a cancer in her hometown that is turning its people against one another.
Jump to other places. What if it burns down the lovely little coffee shop? What if it hurts her place of business?
It's not close enough to the coffee shop or her place of business.
Keep on fighting.
You can't guarantee that.
Well, I can't guarantee that it won't jump. I can also say, you know, the cobblestone streets are notoriously good at condensing a fire.
Yeah, no, Boudica definitely argues that one. That layer of ash underneath all of London, yeah, there were definitely stones involved with that. Sorry, I don't know what point I just made.
I don't know. Incredible.
Joe comes in like...
I don't know the point that I made, but I made a point.
Yeah.
Stone can burn. Sorry, wait. I'm an atheist. All right, look, if the audience hasn't realized at this point I'm the angel, I'm sorry.
What?
Angel.
I believe that devil is a pejorative term. I mean, the church certainly did its deeds to make sure that native spirits were regarded as evil and witchcraft. Who's to say that I'm a demon or a devil?
Did you just like fan open your point? Like,
yes. Now that
it's hot. It's hot.
It must be in hell, yeah.
It's so incredibly hot. I am in hell. I'm in Edinburgh and it's 30 degrees.
I mean, to be fair.
Oh my God. It's even hotter here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's definitely hotter than 30 degrees here.
It was actually not 30 degrees today. It was like 14. It was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
The heat wave finally broke.
I would not be happy.
You would be if you were Scottish and you'd spent 2 weeks in 30-degree heat. Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's,
Back to the
Scottish people are not built for the heat. Look how pale this is. This just says
nobody on the British Isles is built for heat. Like, let's just get that out of the way. Like, y'all think 75 degrees is like.
Why do you want to add more? Why do you want to add more heat to the problem? That's not
a little bit of heat in the dead of night is fine, darling. It does get rather misty in the evening.
Talking about sex.
in this good Christian neighborhood.
In this Christian Minecraft server.
In the middle of the night. I'm sorry. Did we just take on another story? I mean, no, wait. I don't know how to spin this.
No, but genuinely, the more you think about it, like, doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it honor your ancestors, and doesn't it also benefit the people that, not only does this church burn down, but when they try to blame this poor little Glenda for burning this place down, and you're able to come back with, no, she had to stay in my home. She was in my flat because you wouldn't let her stay in a shelter because she didn't want to be preached to. Then that erases their goodwill.
Stay in your house is a very admirable and beautifully charitable thing to do right now in the moment to help someone who needs it.
Yes, and would a devil suggest such charity?
Ulterior motive to build an alibi. Yes, I do think you would.
He's using the church's tactics against us, the devil! Gosh darn it!
By all means, do that, because that helps your local community, and you can reach out to a bigger community and put more good in the world by donating to charity and giving your money to them to help in much bigger circumstances than just here.
And isn't preventing an evil perpetrated by an oppressive group such an awfully good thing to do?
Damaging part of your own town is never a good thing. And
isn't it, though? There's a long-standing history of damaging your own.
How would all of the fanatics be at the church if their building burns?
They're going to get incised at an act of God? Not very good followers, if you ask me.
That's already been proven by the way they acted, so that's not. Yelling at a young lady just because she's filming and has her own commentary on life. Obviously, they aren't like following the basic like golden rule or whatever. But so following the golden rule, like, why would you damage their property when you wouldn't want someone to come and burn down yours because you don't see eye to eye? Whereas you could go and you could help people that you do see eye to eye with, and they would make the world better.
But following that logic,
and help people.
If the golden rule, as you are putting it, is to, what is it? I think it's do unto others as you would have done unto you. I think I'm a little rusty, but I would say that a generational history of breaking your own word and separating children from their homes and displacing entire groups of people from their homes earns you no more goodwill. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't get to be done as I would like to be done to me because you've proven what you want done to you. At least that's my thoughts on the matter.
I love that how this, like, as this has progressed, Lexi's just gone more and more flamboyant. I think when we end, it's going to be like him from the Powerpuff Girls.
That is the highest compliment I could ever be paid.
One of the greatest characters ever created.
Right? Oof. Didn't question it for a moment. Acceptance the first time he came on screen, you're just like, yeah, of
truly,
course. Yeah, that makes 100% sense. I get it. I completely understand this individual and everything about it. It's fine.
He's beauty and he's great.
Distraction again. Him as a character, great reference. Yes, Lexi, please
back.
Charity is good. Why hurt people? I don't.
Charity is amazing. No one's saying it's not, dear, but we are saying that donating to charity and ignoring the infringement of an entire group of people in your own backyard, I just think there's a little bit stronger of an activist move to be made here.
But when the activist movement is damaging something that's almost literally in your backyard, that doesn't seem like a smart move, whether or not it's good. It's like smart. Like again,
I'd rather see my own home. I'd rather see my own home burn than become an unrecognizable, uninhabitable place.
That's not fair. Her home isn't burning. Yours is. Why?
Common misconception, actually. It's just so cold down here that it burns.
Everything else around you is on fire, and so you want everything else to burn as well? No, that's just mean.
No, I don't want everything else to burn. I want the house of an oppressor to burn. Very important difference.
Are you being oppressed right now? Help, I'm oppressed. Like, is that happening?
Yes, we are an actively oppressed group.
You shush. Not, I'm asking our mortal companion at the moment, is that church right now oppressing you as an individual in this succinct?
Are you ignoring her generational trauma and the fact that there are practices and knowledge that she has robbed of because of this very organization?
I will say that I'm of the camp just because it's not happening to me doesn't mean it's not great that it's happening. However, I'm also of the camp of, do I want to accidentally kill some people because they set a fire?
An arson investigation and possibly lose your job, go to jail, have to pay fines, go to taxes in the government.
Although I will say, the fire department is not, or what do you call? Is it the fire department or the fire patrol? What do y'all call them?
The fire department. Yeah.
Okay.
The fire station.
But the
we are still a little bit backwards in that. Yeah. Oh, it's the firemen. It's more than just men,
right? But yes, the fire department isn't very blessed as far as it comes to like arson investigation, as arson isn't easy to perpetrate in wet, moist air all the time, and also all of your buildings are so incredibly old and historical that it doesn't, most of the time people aren't running around setting things on fire. And if they are, they're doing it in a very obvious manner, something you are far too smart to do. Just a thought. And it being a cultural center, and we are running up on the weekend, there's certainly lots of gatherings, lots of...
More of a reason why someone might get hurt. Why?
You know that no one gathers. You know that no one really gathers near the city center. It's far too easy for the police to break things up. People like to go a little bit further out, especially when you have so many talented performers. They can't all congregate in one space.
You've never been to the Fringe.
That's fair. I have been to the Masquerade though, with Heaven, Hell, and Purgatory.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go lighting any fires, a quick Google to see if there's any sort of movements that actively are against the church without necessarily the legal repercussions.
And there are a couple of kind of grassroots movements, but it's hard for them to get a lot of traction. It's atheism and like agnosticism is like on the rise. It's certainly more of the trend in the British Isles, but none of them are incredibly, what's the word? Passionate about it. It's more of, doesn't bother me. I just don't practice it. So the movements that are trying to, bar them from their permits and bar them from, invading public spaces aren't getting a whole lot of support because people are honestly just apathetic.
So then you can pick one of these lovely little grassroots and donate to one of them to help with the local fight and not commit arson. And, that very directly, like the money you give is going to immediately impact them in very big ways and help them accomplish their mission.
Sure, it'll help
everyone
them get flyers printed.
And remove the church out of the situation in the proper channels, not arson.
You know,
variables.
It could very well help them, but being the size that they are, how long would it really take them to actually get action? You live in a bureaucracy, one run by the crown, you know, one run by an organization that is fully backed by the church. So it's awfully hard for them to get action through the proper channels. And isn't it the church that made those the proper channels to begin with?
No, until you try. They're coming from a very different standpoint. They have much newer technology and knowledge about social media and trending and hashtagging and the TikToks and no more Snapchatting, TikToking.
And you know,
they know these things, and so they can use the money very immediately. And you see that one in particular is rather active. And and that lady from earlier happens to be like a big member and promoter of this one particular local grassroots organization.
And, you know, you see that this grassroots has a TikTok or has a TikTok page. And so you go to check that and you see some of that, and then you flip back to your FYP. And the first thing that you see is a TikTok live, these people walking down the street. And this isn't in Edinburgh itself, but this is actually in London. Somebody walking down the street, carrying a cross on their shoulder, making a huge spectacle of themselves as they pontificate to the masses. And you're like, why is this even on my For You page? I've never liked a Catholic or Christian page. I don't interact with them very specifically. Why? Like, they're not only invading my home, they're invading my social medias. That is pulled from real life experience, by the way. I see those constantly.
I don't care about London. What is this?
You know, and that just reminds you even more. Yes, we have access to these things, and this grassroots organization has access to these things, but so does the church. And they are much bigger and much more present than this grassroots has the opportunity to be, because as much as they would like to post regularly and inform people, they still don't have access to 3-minute videos. They are constantly getting things mass reported, so they are constantly having to appeal to TikTok, and their things don't get out to as large of an audience as they should be able to get out to.
And so that's why, your money would help.
I'm just waiting for the halo.
I broke him.
You know, it's very interesting that you seem to have that concept of
sword above my head.
It seems very interesting that you think that money would matter to TikTok, you know, when Black celebrities still can't get their check mark.
Oh, Joe.
Look, I've had a problem with this argument since jump. I am surprised I have made it an hour into this. What?
You know, is TikTok a sin? Is that why you don't know about it?
Look, I don't know about it because every time I try to edit a video, it crashes on me. I'm done. There's too much.
Oh yeah.
It's like all the zhuzh coming off, and it just breaks the app every time. Like, that's not like me. I don't know.
There are like some third-party apps that tend to work, but I honestly just reshoot within TikTok, and I'm like, you get TikTok quality. I'm not trying to get a check mark. I'm not trying to like be on everybody's For You page. If I can get to Indigenous people, queer people, and just weirdos, I'm good.
Charity is good.
Charity is fantastic, but you know, it is rather self-serving and lazy to say, oh, I gave some money. That's good enough. Isn't action so much more charitable?
Oh no, she's brought in the animals.
Here comes the void. Hello, void.
Look into the void.
Mm.
Oh, Kitty, what should I do?
Look into the void and ask it, will you swallow the church?
That seems rather inappropriate.
God. Oh God.
Stop.
No.
Not like that. Filthy, horny jail, all of you.
You're the one who said it.
You're the one who took. Oh, is this the angel taking it to a place of that? Mm.
Did I do that?
Oh, let's just go burn down a church. Let's go.
Yeah. So what you're gonna want to do is we're
I'm going to donate money to charity instead.
I'll donate to my bank on the app on the way.
Just pop in like 500 pounds and be like, screw it. I'm helping the world and I'm helping the town.
Right? Like, who's to say you can't donate after the arson?
Should donate before or after? Like, now we need to work on your alibi. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I just fell.
Welcome.
Just call me Lucy.
What can I say except
you're welcome.
to this wonderful hell we've built.
That's incredible.
Okay, so
you worked so hard for that, Lexi.
I did. I
so
really
hard.
did.
what's so bad? But I'm sitting over here going, he's saying all the things I want to say, but I cannot say them.
Let's go burn a church down to the studs.
Look, my necklace has a snake on it, and I have a snake tattooed on my arm. Like, what was going to happen?
Well,
What's going to happen?
I don't know. I tried. I am not a good.
I mean, I still
Girl.
don't like.
no, you were doing it, and there was definitely a moment where I was like feeding your arguments, and you would say something. Fuck, I did the wrong thing there.
The satisfaction of just seeing that bitch burn to the ground. Like, there is only so much faking it I can do as an angel.
Right? Like, isn't it so much better that these pretenders and these false prophets are silenced?
Yes.
Honestly.
God.
A bunch
Honestly?
of bastards.
Like, I don't know what to say to this, because yes, the church caused all the problems. I cannot.
There's no defense.
There isn't.
None.
Like, I did not know what to do, because I'm like, I will not defend a single bit of those actions. Like, I don't care what character.
And you didn't.
I will not.
Nobody did.
So I don't know how to make this debate happen. Shoot. I cannot invalidate your argument because I agree. Say burning a church is bad. Not because burning the church is bad, but because the unpredictable damage that a fire can cause in the surrounding area and economic hardship, but it's a fucking church.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have time to.
Yeah, we do. So, do we want to flip the cast? And
we can absolutely flip the cast. I am happy to play the mortal this time and have you two convince me, and I can.
Oh no! I was thinking you should be the angel.
Oh, I should be the angel. Yes. Okay.
Oh
no,
angel.
Okay. All right.
So Kim, do you want to be the devil?
I can devil it up.
Okay.
Yes.
Give this a go.
Okay.
So then, you can make up your own objectives, or you can roll a d6 and choose.
Yeah, for those watching, the angel and the devil, we will know each other's motivations. Joe will not know our motivations. And you have a list of 6 preordained objectives that you want the mortal to do. So you can either roll a d6 or choose one for yourself. In the last game, I actually chose one and Joe rolled, and it just so happened to be super topical. So I am the angel this time. I'm gonna
give you guys 2 seconds to figure that out. I'm gonna get a drink.
Yes, go get a drink and start your water for some tea, because by the time we get done, the water will be ready. I am going to message you my objective just to make sure that she can't hear us.
Yep.
What is our DM? I know we have DM'd. Why can I not find you? That's fine.
I'll see if that helps.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, we gotta stretch. Oh, big stretch. Ugh. It really is. Like, I am. My air conditioning is having a really hard time keeping up with the heat.
So there's a guest master at the dojo the past few days. And those poor ACs are working overtime over there to keep that place cooled down. And in this rolling workshop, like even with the ACs blasting and everything, just with that many people, it wasn't like a large crowd. Everyone there was vaccinated, all of that. Everyone was masked up, but still like, just like the 20 bodies in this large room and the heat and the AC, it was still like 80 degrees in that room. And I'm sitting on the sideline taking notes and I'm just like, I am sweating, not doing the darn thing. And I'm like, this is not okay.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like the Pacific Northwest was on fire a couple of weeks ago. Like
there's a couple of them that still aren't out.
Yeah. And the Pacific Northwest for, people who aren't in the US is a lot like Scotland and Ireland. Like it's wet all the time. Like it always rains, but it's just been so hot and dry recently. Like brush fires have been happening and it's a lot of the Pacific Northwest is like old and like made of wood still. Like it's wild.
Yeah, but even my friend is in she's in Minnesota and she's getting all the haze and everything from all the fires.
Yeah, there were people all the way on the East Coast with us that were getting really gray skies and hazy, and it's literally the air currents, the wind currents bringing all of that smoke and ash. It gets up into the atmosphere. Like that's how big these fires are.
Yeah, it's scary.
Okay, so we have our objectives.
Okay.
I think we are ready to begin. So Joe, if you will set the scene for us.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Imina, and I am a researcher at a local university. I am studying herbology at the moment, and I just really enjoy nature in general. And so I am waking up to a bright, sunny day, and I have my kitties next to me, and it's just really lovely. And I'm going to just scroll through my phone and check my emails and just get myself all awake and ready to go about my business.
And as you are scrolling through your emails, you see that you have an email from, the local corrections department. Your mother is trying to get in touch with you. It's been a long time since you guys have spoken. There was a bit of a falling out. It wasn't, because she, was ever any kind of way towards you, but, she was leading this whole life that you knew nothing about. And you've been trying to reconcile, who you knew as your mother and, you know, the person that these news outlets are saying that she was. And it's been really hard for you, but it's also been hard for her because, you know, she did do what she did, but, you know, she did what she did to give you a better life. And, you know, it was very misguided, but, you know, she is your mother and she misses you.
Well, that's heavy.
You also notice that there's another email, and it's from the university. It's from the department that you're very much entrenched in. You know that financially they've been struggling, and you've been working really hard trying to raise funds, trying to do like all of these different things to try and get involved, get people paying attention to the research that you're doing. You think it's going to be really important. It's going to help create sustainable energies. It's going to help nature and plant life just thrive in this world that is currently being absolutely wrecked. And your department head would like to see you to talk about those different ways that you can get your finances up, and you really want to get involved in that and do what you can, because this university has really supported you in your passions.
Okay. Fire off an email back to my advisor saying, yes, sir. Schedule meeting at lunchtime, and then I will send a reply to my mother. Agreeing to meet and asking when her next visitation hours will be, and I'll figure it out. Oi.
Okay. You don't receive an email back immediately, so you're able to, you know, kind of go and like get a little bit of breakfast, a little bit of tea, you know, get yourself ready. You know, you have your nice, you know, your nice fresh berries that you grew in your own little garden. So you have some sweet rice and berries with your tea. So you have some sweet rice and berries with your tea, and you know, you think about your mom again, and it's like, she used to make this for you. You know, this was the breakfast that she taught you how to make. And she doesn't get to eat things like this. She doesn't have access to fresh berries, and she doesn't have access to the things that, you know, really for you as a child made life worth living. It was so fun. Because you didn't really know, you know, that you guys were struggling. She shielded you from that. And that's another reason that everything took you so off guard. So you're finding it hard to get her off your mind, even as you're trying to, you know, preemptively think about the things that you're going to talk to your professor about as you bike to the university, because you're within biking distance and you're very conscious of your carbon footprint.
Small to no carbon footprint. Thank you very much. Zero packaging, reusable everything. Yes.
And I mean, another thought that occurs to you as you're like contemplating these barriers is like, if the world keeps progressing in the way that it is, how long are these berries going to survive? Are you going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor if we keep declining the world in the way that it's declining? Like, we're doing some naughty shit.
I want to be able to teach my daughter how to make sweet rice and berries.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
I said that. Yeah, I want to be able to teach my daughter how to make this dish as well. And what do I do if, like, global warming just wipes out the species that I'm studying? That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. As you kind of, you know, make it to you've made it to your university, and you know, it's thankfully a very nice day. It's you know, you're not sweating too much. You just have you dab a little bit, cool yourself off, and you head into your advisor's office, and you know, they're waiting for you, and you have a seat, and yeah, like it's not looking good from what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm really glad you could come in today. You know, we've all been working so hard to try and raise the funds for this department, but the government, they keep fighting us on every turn. They're calling us liars. It doesn't help that the former president has had a lot to say and taken us out of so many beneficial plans that have sustained and protected the world that we live in. We're going to need a big influx of cash, and I just don't know how we're going to get it.
Yeah, the patent for my carbon dioxide, what is it? Eliminating moss hasn't come through yet, so we can't send it to manufacturing. So I'm sorry, I can send another message again and see where it is along the line. But again, it takes the government a long time to get back to me about anything. We could do another food drive and or maybe another fundraising party.
You kind of check your phone to like make notes, come up with the ideas, like try to take stock of things. And as you do, your news app on your phone has pinged up, and you click on it just kind of subconsciously. It's just a habit to kind of check on these notifications, and you see that there's a news message, and it's all about this bank robbery that's been going on. And the reason that this thing has been like taking the nation by storm is because it has been the perfect crime. These people got in, they got millions, they got out. There's been no sign of them anywhere else, no tell of them anywhere. They've almost just like completely disappeared. And that kind of, even as you just kind of close the window away and you're trying to generate ideas, that's a little seed now in the back of your mind that's just.
And as you still have your phone up, you get the banner notification, and it's a response from your mother. And you're not going to open it because like you're sure that that's going to stir even more things. But in the preview for it, you can see that she says that, she, has visitation this evening, from, 4 to 8. And like after that, she's not sure. And that's all you can see. There's more to the message, but that's all you can see right now. And so you allow the banner to kind of like go back up as you are sitting, listening to your advisor talk about like, this is dire straits. Like it's not looking good. Yeah.
The advisors they've come to trust you like in the extreme. The work that you've done has already generated so much. It's the reason that this department lasted as long as it has. They have so much faith in you, and you really just want to do right by them, not only because you respect and cherish that mentor and the mentorship that they've given you, but also because you really believe in what you can do, and knowing that you have these plans and this special moss that could change the world. That's like, you just want to put everything that you can in that. You want to give it the best chance to be established in the world.
So I need money. Wait, what?
You do.
So I've taken down as many notes as possible. And I guess the one question that I have is approximately the timeline of when the department will be shut down, so we can try to get the money before then.
Yeah, we're going to need the money by the end of the week. If you could get it tomorrow, that would be great. We haven't got all day.
I'm not made of money. I mean, I believe in my work and I believe in my projects, but I'm a
the board
candidate. I don't have money.
The board has sprung this on us. Yeah, preach, sister. The board
is a broken system.
Oh, heck yes. Which one's the devil again?
And so, and the thought does, cross your mind again, that bank robbery, that perfect crime crosses your mind again. And then, you think about it is a broken system. And, the people whose money was stolen from this bank, they're going to spend months and months, maybe even years fighting with the banks and fighting with the Federal Reserves in order to get their money back. They're not just going to hand out all of the money that was taken from all of these bank accounts. They can't. Number one, there's not enough money in the United States Treasury to do it. And number two, they don't want to. These systems aren't put in place for the people. And, when we try to take things back and we try to, fuck the system fucks us back harder.
Non-consensually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, motherfucker. In this instance, that it's a little less personal than that. It was physical cash taken from the bank. They can't place that to this is Mrs. Jones' account, that's Mr. Stevenson's account. That there's ways to make it a little less personal.
Yes, but I'm not. Oh wait, huh?
You're taking it from the system. You're not taking it from the people. You're taking it from the bastards who took it from the people in the first place. You're like,
yes,
Robin Hood, that's his name. I nearly said Peter Pan. Wrong guy. Wrong green hat.
No, he stole children, not money.
Why? I'd rather have the money.
So, okay.
And as you're kind of struggling with this, you go back to that email from your mother and you think about her again, and this is the kind of question that you would want to ask your mother. This is the kind of stuff, especially now knowing that she's done these.
What did she go to jail for?
No, she never robbed a bank, but she did things that were questionable because she thought the end served the means. And now that she's paying for that, she has a very unique perspective. And, this is something even, if she weren't sitting in jail, these are the kinds of things you need your mother for. It's hard. It's like, Mom, I don't know what's the best to do, I know that I could do this without actually harming real people, but is that harm that I perpetrate guaranteed not to hurt anybody? And is it not going to hurt me? What does it feel like for her sitting in this cell, having done the things that she did, thinking it was right at the time?
Wait, what did she go to jail for?
She went to jail for essentially white collar crime. She would defraud museums of saying that she was giving them art, authentic artifacts. She worked as an authenticator, and so she would things would come across her desk, and she had an art fence who would create a duplicate of it, and she would then get rid of the real piece. And so she was defrauding museums essentially.
And that really kind of hurts you because the industry that you're in, it ties in a lot with museum work. The good that museums are trying to put out there. You want to spread the accessibility that people have to those kind of establishments. You don't really believe that the museums were innocent in this, and all of the money that they try to spend on the artwork to get people in, or the different sort of artifacts that they try and get in,
not and there's only also sorry
yeah, bitch. Not only are they sort of taking the money away from the museum, they're taking it from different creators, Indigenous creators, LGBTQ creators, people who have been marginalized and just want to do some good in the world. They want to be
But
accessible.
You also realize that oftentimes those artifacts are then made inaccessible to the people from which they came and to the people to which they belong. You know, these museums have a long history of selling to private collectors. They have a long history of these sort of elitist board of beneficiaries. They aren't actually made to educate the masses. They aren't actually made to, help the people that they came from, which is why your mom felt okay doing what she did. But now, that she's, removed from you, sitting away and like locked up, how does she feel about it now? How might that affect you if you were to perpetrate these things? And how are you to know that?
But if you don't find the money to help benefit the world, there's not going to be any museums. There's not going to be any consequences because it's just going to be fire and brimstone anyway.
Okay, so if very abstractly, I want to try to figure out how to drum up money in a not conventional way.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see if I know anyone who can help.
Okay.
And so I am going to wander down to the school cafeteria and contemplate life some more, but read that email from my mom.
And so as you read, she's just, thanking you for emailing her back. It's been a really long time since you guys have talked, and she hasn't even been able to catch you on the phone. And, she knows you're very busy, and she's saying all of this, I know you're very busy. I know, you're working and you want to improve the world, and I'm so proud of you. I just really need to see you. It's been really hard adjusting to all of this, and I'm in here with people that want me to throw in with them and want me to pay these dues to them for protection, and I just really need to see my daughter, and I miss you. And that's kind of the gist of the email, is that she just misses you and she's having a really hard time.
As you sort of sit down and you're reading this email, you notice that there is another student sort of sat at their computer. They're typing away. They work for one of the other departments, but they have a reputation around for being able to access different sort of computer technologies, different mainframes. They've got a lot of ins if you need kind of like to get some government approval and things like that. They seem to have a lot of connections, and they know their way around sort of the internet itself, the TikToks and the and the tweeters,
the twatter,
the twats.
Fuck.
The interwebs.
Okay, I'm going to pick up my drink and I will sit down across from said individual and politely try to start up a conversation. Excuse me, I was wondering if I could I went blank on the phrasing. Could I pick your brain for a minute about the topic?
Sure. She looks like she should be very closed off, and like talking to her seems like it should be a little bit intimidating, but she's actually very open. She like takes off one of her earphones and she like pulls down the laptop screen so that she can see you properly and engage. She's like, how can I help? There's a reason she has this reputation for being able to connect people, and it's not just because she has the wiles. She's also just genuinely happy to help people.
Lovely.
Break stereotypes. That's smash.
I'm just happy to be here.
She doesn't even go here. be such very pumped.
Hi, my name is Imina, and I don't think we've ever actually met. I am over in the herbology department working on a fantastic project that I hope will completely change the world, because I want to grow this moss that can coat buildings, the roofs of buildings, and it will suck up all of the carbon dioxide and bad stuff put into the atmosphere and get released as lovely oxygen and water. But my patent is in limbo, and I was wondering if you could help me figure out where in limbo it is and scoot it along, because we need money so the herbology department doesn't close, and then it just gets really depressing from there. But I was just hoping you had like connections that could help in this process so I can get some money for the herbology department so I can keep my studies going. That's a lot, and you are a stranger. Thank you so much for listening.
Hey, that's okay. I don't really the patent process I can't really help you with, but there's plenty of channels if you're looking to get money. I suppose it just depends what kind of path you want to take, how quickly you need the resources. And she kind of like does a little like shifty look around just to make sure that nobody else is really paying attention. And she's like, I guess it depends as well, like how concerned you are about where that money comes from. She has worked with a lot of sort of the bureaucracy around these programs and how hard it is to get legitimate funds. So without saying so in so many words, she's kind of giving you an opportunity to broach something a little less savory if that's where your pathways are taking you. This isn't her first rodeo.
She's something of a hacktivist.
And she looks it as well, like she is like, even though she's very friendly and open, she's a stereotypical
so she has like an asymmetrical short bob cut, like a mean girl thing.
Yeah, and she's got like a sort of dark shirt on and like a hoodie.
Yes.
She's got like a
off one shoulder. Yeah. Yeah.
She's very much the I'm in person.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've seen her in a movie or two.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not. She's the one that has crazy hair up in a bun, just like all the time.
They always make the best partners. We've seen them.
Is this an all digital thing, or is this like a physical in-person thing?
If we go down the route of digital, there's going to be a different impact than if we try something a little more hands-on.
I think I'm better with hands-on, but I really don't know.
I have some contacts. I can put my feelers out. If you want to leave me your number, it's like lunchtime now. I can give you a call back about 3. We could get something arranged. What is your time frame?
End of the week, if not sooner.
All right. This I can let me speak to some people. Leave your number. Thanks. I'll see what I can do.
Thanks. And your name is?
Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia. Lovely chat.
Write that down.
You go now.
So as you leave, you have another email from the Department of Corrections, and it's not from your mother herself. It's actually like from the administration of the jail, and they are letting you know that there is overcrowding in this particular facility, which is already an hour away from you, and they're going to be transferring your mother soon to a facility that's 3 hours out of your way. She's going to be even further, even more inaccessible, and so she will be moving by the end of the week.
Fuck you.
Why?
I'm evil, even when I'm an angel.
You're like, oh boy, that's strange.
How odd.
Life always gives you shit in threes.
Yeah, and like what you're looking at, like you're reading the email, and like it looks like they've like tried to contact you regarding this before, and you just
shouldn't ignore those emails so much. Whoops. What? I mean, do I have to give permission for them to transfer her? Why?
You don't have to. They do not need your permission for anything that they do with or for her, but they have to let you know that they are moving her.
Fine. All right. Oh.
That's it. You're making your way back to your office. It's like 3:00 now, so you have like another hour and a half that you could work, but you don't have to, because like you don't have any more classes for the day, and the rest of the work that you need to do, you could do at home. Like it's all on your computer.
I'm gonna go to my greenhouse and check on my plants.
Yeah.
They calm me down. Weird.
As you're heading, you get a phone call. It's an unknown number, but you're expecting this call from Sophia. So you answer it with trepidation.
Hello?
Hey, it's Sophia.
Oh, hi. Oh, thank you so much for getting back to me.
No problem. Look, I put some feelers out, and I have some contacts, and I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and this bank downtown, they're doing a big drop off today. There's going to be a heck of a lot of cash going straight in there. The security seems like it should be really tight, but he knows that there's a couple guys off sick, and this might be the only chance we get to do this. But we're going to have to strike tonight.
How do I help?
You have to. We need the bodies.
Plans.
We need the bodies to go in and get the cash. We need some distractions. We need some people to like turn heads so that we can get in, grab the cash, and get out. And look, if you're caught on camera as a hostage, or like somebody who's just in the foyer as all this is happening, it probably won't get to hostages, let's be real. You've got an alibi for not being the person that's taking the cash. And because it's going to a good cause, we can transfer that money straight into your hands.
And as you're thinking of, it makes you a little trepidatious, a friend of a friend of a friend who knows a guy. I mean, your mom was turned in by somebody she thought she could trust. And like, these are people that you don't even know. Like, how do you wrap your mind around that? How, like, is this risk really worth the reward? And how do you justify that? How did your mom justify that? And there's really only one way to know that.
But if you take the time out to go and cry to your mom about this, you might miss the only opportunity to go and get your hands on the money that will save your project and save the world.
But
Yeah,
if you do run in half cocked, do you really want your reunion with your mother being when you're her cellmate? Would she want that for you?
Look, you're in the foolproof part of this. You're in the safety of the bank, away from where the transfer is happening around the back. It's all going to be money sort of
So
nicked
why
out of
would I be
that.
at this bank as a customer?
As the
Causing
distraction.
distractions.
But if people see me there, like, I don't have a bank. Like, what bank is this? I don't know if I have an.
Oh, it's definitely your bank. She said.
Okay. So we're gonna rob my own
Yes,
bank.
and
That
but
doesn't
it's not-
sound smart.
it's not your money. But
It's not my money. But
And if they're talking
you
about
don't have.
But if they're talking
cash,
about
so
putting
it's
the
not
money
anybody's
directly in your hands, how are you going to explain where this cash came from? You know, there has to be a sort of record, even with private donations, especially of such a large sum. That's going to raise a lot of questions, especially when you were just saying to your advisor that you didn't think you could get that much money in one day.
But you've pulled crazy stunts before, and you know that for the facility, there are things that the mentor might look favorably upon or look the other way upon.
So
without being too.
What kind of distraction do I need to do in the lobby, or the?
You just need to make sure that people are focused on what's going on around you, just asking a lot of complicated questions that would draw in other members of staff so that there's less people kind of protecting the flow of cash as it comes through. I've never robbed a bank before. I'm making this up as I go along. I'm sorry. That's my alibi and I'm sticking to it.
I mean, I could see if maybe they could give me a private loan to help the department.
Trying to get a private loan is good. It's definitely a lot more legal.
I mean, I've avoided the private loan so far with my doctoral degree, and it wouldn't be too far-fetched to go ask about some of that money.
Yes, but would that be a big enough distraction to draw in multiple employees, or would you have to be dubious and make a scene and you know, put on the mask of a Karen? And like, who wants to step into those shoes, having a full-blown meltdown in the middle of a bank for that to go? People would record you. That would be put out on the internet, and then you're possibly losing your position to help because you've made a public scene.
You don't need to go, Karen. You know that sympathy will draw in as many people as being a crazy ass bobcat will be. We all know they've got bobcats, we know.
So what time is this going down?
The bank closes at 6, so we need to rock and roll in about an hour or so. You've got time. We can get this together.
I go by the bank to talk about a loan. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't take too long. I can leave from the bank to go visit my mom before hours are done.
But you're talking about a loan in order to cover up a robbery, which takes much more than just an hour. And you know,
do I have any kind of suspicion that my mom might have money stashed away somewhere?
You don't know whether or not she does. You know that, you know, when she was arrested, she said that you would always be taken care of, and you weren't sure what that meant. And because you've had such a hard time with everything, you haven't really looked into it. So you would really need to talk to her to know what she meant by that.
I've had to be very self-sufficient in all these years since she got locked up. I don't know.
She hasn't
Yeah,
helped you before. Why would she help you now?
Well, but she has reached out, and you in your own complicated feelings, which are completely valid, haven't reached your hand back out in kind, because you're just now reckoning with the fact that no, she really did what she thought she had to do in order to help us do more than just survive. You've only just recently come to terms with that, but you still don't know, what she meant by you would always be taken care of. You don't know, if, she regrets what she did. And here you are sitting on the precipice of trying to help the world survive. And you're in this crossroads, and like, even if you don't rob this bank, there will be another bank. There will be another opportunity, but you only really have this one opportunity to know whether or not your mother would say everything I did was worth it.
It just means I have to drive a bit farther.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. True.
It's easier to drive an extra couple hours than it is to rearrange a bank robbery. Like, everything's ready to go.
Just need an extra distraction. Honestly, I wish I could pull off some like poison ivy shit at this point.
Right.
And my plans grow into the bank and steal the money.
And then dash right out and go see my mom.
Right. But you can't, because sadly you are a mortal woman confined to mortal limitations.
Damn you, comic books, giving me higher expectations than I built.
Going full Crowley and just like watering the plants. It'd be like, why don't you grow? You see what happens?
I forgot about that scene. It is
now
3:00.
Yeah. It's now probably
standing on the precipice.
Yeah.
Just
you have a decision to make.
Misting my plants.
And as you're misting the plants, a monarch butterfly comes and like lands on your shoulder, and you get a memory of when you had little caterpillars that your mom like taught you about their life cycle, and you watched them go from a pupa to a fully formed caterpillar to a cocoon to a butterfly, and then you guys release them out.
And then she left you to survive by yourself, like she did with
in the background the entire time.
It lasted about 2 days. The butterfly flew out of the window and a bird came and was like,
circle of life.
Oh my god. And how beautiful is the circle of life? And it's
get out of here, Rafiki.
Oh, it's a circle of all things, and the bird eats the butterfly, and then returns the butterfly to the earth, and then that in turn feeds the earth and feeds new butterflies.
You just talked about poop.
Yep, I did.
It had to happen at some point. I'm surprised it took this.
Right.
We've hit the three main taboo topics. Religion, sex, and poop.
Religion was just all over it.
We pooped on religion. That's what we did.
We flamed religion.
Literally.
She will take the gamble of going to the bank and causing a little bit of a distraction to help with the heist. Never fully committing to Karening out. That is now a word. Instead of caroling, it is Karening.
Karen. Karen out.
And then she will try to make it to see her mom that night afterwards. and be like, so you said some crazy shit to me before, and I don't know. It's really hard. So what help have you been, you crazy lady? Also, I made the same mistake as you, so help.
Success. Your team successfully robs the bank. The money goes. You get your moss, and the world survives. Hooray!
Another generation.
Yeah.
And when you do go to visit your mother, you find that she's in the medical wing because those people who were demanding her like commissary money for protection have broken her legs.
Legs healed.
I have plans.
Fine.
The best I can do is arnica and Epsom salts.
Right. Some ashwagandha made into a poultice.
Slap that on.
Right.
Ginseng and what's that mint? Like, no, not mint. Camphor.
Camphor.
Mm-hmm.
Ginseng and camphor. Mm-hmm.
Slap that
What
on.
was really funny about 2 minutes into this, I just opened my rune bag and just took a rune out just to rub between my fingers. I'm very fidgety. But it's like, so it's just been an up and down arrow this whole time. Like, who's gonna win?
Yes. Who's gonna do it? Yeah. This fan, because it's a metal fan and this fabric on it is cheap, has like a rip right here.
Oh my god.
I've just been like playing with the whole time. I'm going to eventually like take this off and recover it, but yeah, we've both just been fidgeting with things this whole time.
Been sweating so much as well. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god, it's so hot.
But
it's hot in hell.
It is inescapable at this point.
Honestly.
God.
Okay.
That was fun.
That was so
I didn't think
fun.
I was gonna win. I thought Lex.
Oh, I've had no idea who's gonna win the whole time. It's been, like there have been moments where I'm like, oh, she's leaning to me, and then I was like, no, now she's leaning this way. And I'm just like, Joe is the perfect person to put in the mortal seat because very much like weighs all of the options and overthinks. So it's very easy to be like, oh, but what about this? Oh no, but think about this. This game is so fun.
I like that it just gives you free reign to be as ridiculous as you want. Like you don't have to.
It's like fuck a roll. Like no, we're just gonna. It's essentially an improv game. Like the whole time. I love it. It was so good.
Improv meets debate because like
I never want to debate against Lex ever again.
Fun fact, I was model UN, so I have learned a lot about how to do those things. And we never had a speech and debate team, but the first year that I did literacy competition, which is a thing that we do in my state, I don't know like how widespread it is, but we do literacy competition here, and that's a thing where you have different categories. So there's like solos where you do like songs, there's dramatic interp, there's group and solo dramatic interp. There's all sorts of things. One of them is extemporaneous speaking, which is what I did the first year that I did it. And extemporaneous speaking is you show up, we have resources on resources on resources. So we can bring our laptop, but we only have the resources that we bring. So we can bring our laptop, we can bring National Geographics, we can bring all sorts of stuff with us. And then when we show up, they hand us a topic and we have like an hour to research that topic as much as we can, take a stance on it, and then sway our judges to our stance on it. So I had to do that, and I came in third place in boys extemp.
We have the opportunity to show
except I'm not a boy. They just thought I was.
Happens all the time.
Right.
The closest thing I got to was when I was teaching in Japan. They had a prefecture-wide speech contest, and they had two different categories. One where they were reading an English script or short story, and they were supposed to like be somewhat performative with it, like emote and really bring out the poetry of the passage that they're reading and everything like that. that was hard to coach because I basically showed up to the contest day of, and one of the teachers from my high schools was like, "Oh yeah, she's here too. Can you help her real quick?" And I'm like,
"Oh no!"
And at one of my other schools, I had multiple students competing, like got into the competition, and I was like, "I've been prepping them for literally months, and you threw her at me day of. All right, let's do this."
Yeah.
But what was great is the second part of the contest was the students wrote their own speeches in English about a topic that they were given by the judges panel. And the topic was like, what is the epitome of Japanese culture to introduce to the world? Fun. Most of the students were like, sushi! And I was like, yes, that's cliche. What was the other one?
And I would say racist, but you're the one saying it. So
yeah. The other one was origami. That one happened so much. And I was like, it's accurate, but what? And
make those little like fortune tellers.
Oh, yeah.
The cootie catchers.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
I've never heard them called that.
But then,
so that was the thing that we called them in America. We called them cootie catchers or fortune tellers because like we learned to make them in elementary school, and we often would have things about like who you're gonna marry and like.
But then I mean, obviously biased, but I felt the three speeches from my students were really interesting because what they were talking about, and the people who won, awesome. Like one of my students placed in the actual contest. Woo, like go her, because holy crap, she was amazing. But they decided they were going to make a whole new category because of what did they call it? Like crowd entertainment. Because this one kid, he was not the best at speaking English, but holy hells was he passionate about his topic. And that topic was natto. It's a very specific dish, like fermented soybeans.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm aware of them. Yes, I've never heard the like Japanese name for it, but yes.
Yeah, fermented soybeans. It's a thing.
Okay, but you can't make that face because pickled pig's feet is a thing. Pickled pig's feet is a thing in America.
I eat haggis, so you know. Questionable culinary exam.
Well, the thing is, like, I've had haggis, I've had pickled pig's feet, and okay, fine, and like they're unique, and I would not eat those things again.
Dare you? Get out of here!
I have eaten natto. I would eat natto again because it's something that like it's a very specific. But the fact that like he opens it up, being like it smells and tastes like sweaty socks. And like this boy did not need a microphone. He was energetic and just bounding.
I love everything about this kid.
And
I know this is a child after my own heart.
It's slimy. It's weird. It's smelly. It tastes like sweaty gym socks. Like he's like it's.
So does some cheeses. I mean, I'd give it a go.
But he goes into like the history of it, and he was super cute. Terrible at his English the entire time. Like thick, like middle of nowhere Nagano accent.
Oh no.
Still freaking adorable. And like he has a little bit of a lisp. Like it was amazing. And he was so freaking entertaining that the judges were like, we need a new category because now we need most memorable, best performance.
Yeah.
We'll definitely go to him. No one's gonna forget Natto Boy. We know you didn't. We have got to like give you props because we now know.
I'm so happy for him.
Microphones.
That's so cute.
Like, I'm trying so hard to get him to be quiet and to calm down just a little bit. Like for the girls, I was like, go more big, loud gestures. Yay. He saw me do that once. He was like, I shall do all the gestures.
Oh my God. Look at him. He takes notes.
He did. It was
he listened.
That's incredible.
That's the closest.
I don't think we have time to run another one, but we do have plenty of time before the next thing. So like honestly, like We can keep talking about this. We can, I'm happy, if anybody in the audience or you two, because like I know of the three of us, I'm the most read up on what's going on with Pipeline 3. If we want to learn a little bit about Pipeline 3, we can talk about that. If we want to talk about what's been going on with the water protectors and the protesters that are there, like we can talk about that. Like there's so much that we can talk about and cover, but also like that shit is heavy. So like if we want to stay light, like we can stay light, we can stay fun, we can stay cute.
I mean, because after this, we're going into Let's Talk About It, right?
Yeah, after this, we're going into Let's Talk About It. But Let's Talk About It doesn't start until 9. So usually we usually break for about a quarter till. And I'm fine to break a little bit earlier. So people who need to grab something to eat, i.e. probably me and Joe, because neither of us have really eaten a lot today, I'm sure.
Why you gotta call me out like that? I made sure my husband had food and then forgot it for myself. Whoops.
Stop. No.
This is the way.
Oh my God. This is the way.
This is the way.
I mean, I
fed my animals and then I just... No, I did eat. It's 1:10. That's fine. I'm alive.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Nova is saying we'll call it and extended. Yeah, I mean, we can, I think we can take like 20 more minutes and break at 8:30 instead of 8:45.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have been out of the loop on the pipeline stuff because I'm just so far removed from it. And those kind of things, unless specifically I'm looking at American speakers about this problem, it doesn't actually really make it across the pond.
Well, yeah, and the biggest problem right now is there's not even a lot of media attention here in the States about the issue. Like that's a huge problem, that there's so many other things going on right now because America is but and it's
but it's also like people don't care about indigenous issues. And like I've already said earlier today, like this is not just an indigenous issue, but even if it was, fuck you for not caring. But like so what is happening is there's a pipeline that was originally supposed to stay in Canada and just go through Canada, but the people that live there said no. And because they were white people, they listened. And so now they are running it down across the border through treaty lands, and it crosses several bodies of fresh water, including crossing the Mississippi River a minimum, I think at minimum 3 times.
Oh, damn.
And what they're piping through is tar sands. So it is the most expensive type of crude oil, and it is the most damaging type of crude oil, because to even make it usable, they have to go through a whole chemical process to clean it and to change it out. And because it is so dirty, it is heavier. And so instead, like when there's a spill, instead of like sitting on the water like a normal oil spill does, this sinks. This goes in and it mixes with the sediment, and it's carried throughout the bottoms of bodies of water. And it's so much harder to clean. Mm-hmm. And so you not only are tripling the carbon dioxide put out because you're having to clean this oil that you're piping back through, they're also just doing this to save money. Because what they could do is take that crude oil, take that tar sands, which they shouldn't be lifting out in the first place, but let's say we're letting them do that. They could then take it and put that on trains. But because it is so much more expensive, they're just like, let's build a pipeline. But the thing about pipelines is it's not if it's going to leak, it's when. Mm-hmm. There has never been a pipeline that has not sprung a leak at some point, because people do not put in the money to inspect them, to update them. Because when they have to update the pipes and they have to change out the pipes, they have to shut down production, and they don't want to do that. Yeah. So they just let these things rot.
With the tar sands in particular, because of that sinking aspect, it's harder to detect because it goes to the bottom and then it mixes with the silt and everything, destroying ecosystems along the way. And why it is so dangerous with the Mississippi, again, like largest body of fresh water, like that sucker goes from Canada northern United States all the way to the freaking Gulf of Mexico. And we already know like the problems that the Gulf has because of the multiple spills that have happened in it. But in the meantime, that is going through a largest chunk of agricultural land within the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So then the water is poisoned for both agricultural and
ecological region. Yeah. Like,
again,
these things absolutely
when the leak happens.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like, let's also discuss the danger of bringing these workers into these areas. There's a phenomenon we refer to as MMIWs, that's missing and murdered Indigenous women. Indigenous women are the most at-risk population in the world. There are like, it's like Indigenous women, trans women, like, and it just goes down from there. And there was already arrests made from workers on this pipeline on allegations and charges of sex trafficking. So like, you are not only endangering the world and our ecosystem, you're endangering people, because these workers are not vetted like they should be. They're just after bodies. And beyond that, you have police officers making unlawful arrests of water protectors, people praying and practicing ceremonies on their land are being shot at and arrested unlawfully. And then you also have the fact that some woman drove up there recently and hit water protectors and protesters with her fucking car and was then protected by the police.
Oh, for God's sake.
Like, you have all of these, and Enbridge is paying police officers to sit and do these things. They are paying a premium to have law enforcement come and do these things to these people on their sacred land, practicing their fucking creator given rights. Like, these are sacred ceremonies, these are prayers, and these are people like, and you're calling these people activists, but like, why is wanting clean drinking water me being an activist and you polluting it, not you being a terrorist?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Preach.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why it was hard for me to be an angel in the first session.
Yeah.
The entire
This all sounds so familiar.
Like, don't be like that. You're an angel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah,
I should have just had both of you being like, burn it all.
Burn it down. No. But yeah, it's very much that. And because people view it as an Indigenous issue, it doesn't get media coverage. Just like MMIWs don't get coverage, just like the fact that there is a tribe in Texas that is about to lose their land because in Texas, there are no reservations. Nope. They don't have land rights in Texas. And so all of the land that they have, they have bought themselves. And so there's a tribe in Texas right now whose name escapes me. I would have to look it up, but they are trying to raise, I think it's like $6,000 by the end of the month, which is tomorrow at this point, in order to be able to keep their lands. So please also look into that. If you can donate to that, please do. Like, this is incredibly important. Because at the end of the day, like, you still have people that think natives don't exist anymore. Like, there's a whole sound on TikTok that's like, when's the last time you saw somebody native or somebody mixed with native? And it's like, you don't, I'm right here. Like, Joe is right there. Like, there are people practicing these ceremonies every day. Like, we're not gone. Like, despite the efforts of the government and the Catholic Church, like, we're still here. And
My auntie was mixed heritage. She had native Indigenous heritage, and she's also Scottish. So she had she's still alive. She has red hair and like pale freckly skin. Like, nobody would look at her and go, she's Indigenous. Mm-hmm. She has that heritage. Like, they would strip that from her and say that she has no rights to the things that she still practices today. Yeah. And that, like, how can you turn around and be like, oh, you don't look enough like that, so no, you're not that. Yeah.
And it happens on both ends of the spectrum too, because you have Afro-Indigenous people getting told like, you're not Indigenous, you're Black. And it's like, yes, and like, Black Indigenous people exist everywhere, number one. And number two, like, Alabama, Chattanooga, and the Kickapoo in Texas.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was just listening to some of their legends last night in an audiobook.
Oh, and that's but like that's the thing is like at the end of the day, like white people think that they get to define what Indigenous people look like and who Indigenous people are, and you fucking don't. Like the only things that you get to define is a fucking blood quantum.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, and that was imposed by them. And like, and what's so interesting about blood quantums is that like, number one, they're bullshit and it's a tool of colonization.
Yeah.
But it is literally the opposite of the way that the government dealt with Black people. It like with Black people, it was like you have one drop of blood, you have one drop of Black blood in your family line, you're Black. Whereas it is the exact opposite with us, where they think that you can breed out someone's indigenosity. And it's like, no, you can't. You can't. Like there are people, Indigenous comes in all shades from milk to fucking black coffee, like, and everything in between. And you have a whole group of people who then have a harder time reclaiming these things and coming back, because you have white people who have no Indigenous blood just claiming it because that gives them a legitimate claim to the land. Like that's what was happening in the antebellum period. That's why there are so many white people out here like, I'm related to the Powhatan tribe. Like, no, I'm like Cherokee. And it's like, you might be, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're not, because like I look the way I look. I'm native of the tribes of Diné and Cherokee, Eastern Band, but I'm also Greek and Irish. So like I am someone of mixed heritage. Like I look like this. And so, you know, I'm not about to sit here and say, oh, you know, that person is an Indigenous, they're too pale. But what does clue me into things is when they aren't approaching things with respect. They're just out here like doing tribal makeup or wearing fucking feathers or having a tattoo of a goddamn dream catcher. And it's just like none of these things are good. And if you are Indigenous, I need you to get more in touch with those roots and talk to the tribesmen and like figure those things out.
Yeah. So did you know that I'm sorry, I'm wanting to take it to a lighter note.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's please do that.
So there is one plant in North America that is traditional Native American tea. Mm-hmm. And it is a plant called Yaupon. I have no idea if I am saying that correct.
Yes.
Yaupon.
Yaupon.
Yeah. And I will tell you, it's freaking delicious. And I'm bringing this up because I am absolutely a crazy tea fanatic and recently found out so is Kim.
Another really great thing, and I can share this, and here's the other side of this, you know, like Indigenous practices are closed, yes, but that doesn't mean we're saying nobody can ever do anything like what we do ever, because the whole point of the spirituality, you know, at its core is about taking care of the earth. And of course we want you to do that, but we want you to do it with respect and learn the right way to do it. And when you do get invited in, realize it is not your right to like charge exorbitant prices for healings. It's not your right to impart these teachings to other people, but because you have been invited in, like we trust you and we want you to like love the land the way we love the land. So here's a tidbit that you can use when you're feeling a little sick, a little under the weather. Some native medicine is to take cedar and brew a tea with the cedar leaves. And cedar is extremely
leaves, not bark.
Leaves, not bark. Yes, leaves, not bark. Leaves, not bark. Leaves, not bark. Remember that.
Leaves, not bark. Leaves,
not bark. But yeah, you can use that and you can brew it with different types of teas. And because it is incredibly rich in vitamin C and other vitamins and minerals, it helps to fight colds. It helps to reduce inflammation in the lungs and sinuses. You can also do it as a steam. If you take the cedar and you put the leaves in the pot. I like to do mine with a little bit of honey as well to kind of thicken the steam. But like get that to a nice rolling boil, cover it, and then take a towel over your head, lift that bad boy up, and just breathe it in.
But so why I brought up Nyalpan is because you can find indigenous tea harvesters that sell it and in blends and things like that, and it's a lovely flavor, mild. Beautifully caffeinated, similar to yerba mate, if anyone out there knows what the heck I'm saying with that one. But yerba mate is rather astringent and a bit finicky with how to...
Yeah, it gets bitter really easily.
Yeah, especially if you want to do it the traditional method with the gourd and straw and everything, like it gets finicky. But I got to say, I abused the hell out of this sample that I got. And man, it was always delicious. It was great hot or cold. It was great blend. It was great by itself. A little bit of honey and lemon. Like, if you can find a supplier online, there's a few out there, and I'm not sure which one to like actively recommend at the moment, but there are options out there, and definitely give it a go. Support some indigenous tribes and small businesses, and give a new tea a go.
Yeah,
give a new tea a go.
And just before we go, I will say again to everyone, we are fundraising for stoppipeline3.org. We've just been discussing that. And so if you can tip, please do. If you can't, please share our live stream around, and maybe somebody who can will hop on. We, when we come back, we'll be doing Let's Talk About It. Kim and Joe will be with me there. We will also have our dear friend and streamer, Aaron Go Play will be with us. We will be discussing folklore and mythology across the globe and their similarities and the ways that they affect us today. Thank you guys so much. You guys have anything you want to plug before we go? I know you'll be back with me in a moment, but might as well.
I don't think so. I think I'm happy to keep plugging. Go Pipeline.
I'm gonna drop this in.
Stop Pipeline 3.
Super excited about it. So I do also work with a nonprofit charity called Solid Stance for Unity and Community. It's a mouthful. Solid Stance is a nonprofit charity that helps bring martial arts to disenfranchised communities around the central Arkansas area. That's where I live. Yes, we have larger goals to go national, but we are a fledgling foundation, and we just received our 501c3 status from the government, so we get to get discounts or tax credits, whatever.
I don't know what that is, but
it gives them special tax credits.
Clapping in British.
It gives them special tax credits as a awesome. Nonprofit.
Yeah,
amazing.
And when people donate so much amount of money on their taxes, they get like some money back for being awesome.
Okay. Nice.
So solidstance.org. If you want to check that out, it is not on topic for any of this, just personal passion project that I
absolutely. Hey, we don't care if it's on topic. The topic is completely shifting. For me, guys, like I'm gonna be hosting, so I'm gonna plug later. But if there's any kind of mythologies or stories that you want to throw at us, feel free to tweet it at me. You can tweet it at Lex Stop Talking. That is the official Twitter for the Let's Talk About It podcast. So we will see you guys soon, hopefully. Mwah.
Thanks for coming.